Hello lovely people. If you follow my channel, probably you know that I love Audiotec Fischer stuff. So now, today we're going to check out the new Helix Bluetooth streamer, HD streamer, and their microphone kit. So before we start, I would like to thank Julian personally because he sent me these just to check them out. I really wanted it, and I'm gonna tell you why. So this video is gonna be just kind of unboxing and general overview of the functions of this little thing. Now, first of all, what is this Bluetooth streamer? What is it for, and why would you want one? So this little thing is a digital add-on device to your system that allows you to stream HD high definition audio. If you're using a Helix DSP, you will be familiar with the Bluetooth HEC card that you put inside the DSP. This is an external device that you should mount like any way you want, and this can be used with absolutely anything that you have. It doesn't have to be a Helix DSP, it can be any DSP you want, as long as that DSP has a digital optical input, because this has an optical output. So this is a tiny device. You can see it's very small, it's very light, it's made from plastic, and it has some very cool functionality. So from the outside, if you have a look, we have 4 mounting screws. At the bottom, there's nothing really there, just a sticker, quality pass. On the front, we have a few buttons and few switches. We're gonna go through them. And on the back, we have the 2 connectors and digital optical in and out. So first, probably we need to talk, what is it used for? Why would you want to buy one? This is a perfect device for a person like me. I do not have a head unit, and this Bluetooth streamer allows me to stream Bluetooth music, and with an optional microphone kit, it allows me to have hands-free calls. My car could potentially do it with optional like integration kit and stuff, but I really don't want to. And if you have like an older car that has a very old head unit that doesn't allow any kind of Android Auto or other functions, this would be a perfect device for you. So for retrofitting older cars, this is just amazing. So this streamer is sold separately by its own, and you can have an additional microphone kit. So they came out just very recently, and the UK prices as they stand of this date is £129.99 for the streamer, which is like £130, and £29.99 £30 for the optional microphone kit. Now the price is obviously going to vary depending on the location. In America probably is going to be a bit more expensive because everything Helix in the US is more expensive than in Europe. In this box, what you have is just a streamer, a little manual, and some screws, and nothing else. In this manual, if you're going to open it up, it has the explanation of all the connection that they are, the power, because there is the power plug with 5 switches. So here you have what is where, and you can download a manual. So it's very cool because it is a very tiny thing in a tiny box. It is cool that they don't overcrowd everything with a paper manual. If you scan this code, it's gonna directly to the Helix page, and you can download a PDF version of this manual. So I do apologize for the glare because I am filming outside, but in this manual we have kind of how to mount it, same repeating stuff that is here, all the tips and everything, how to actually use it and what it can do. And at the very end, if we're going to go to the specs, here we have the specs. I'm not sure how it's going to be visible, but it does support aptX HD, exactly the same as the Bluetooth HEC card. It does run from 12 or 24 volts, so it does like all of the way up to 32, so you can use it in a 24 volt truck, if I understand it correctly. And it does have a remote output of 200 milliamps. Why is that important? Because this streamer can be used as a remote trigger for your whole system. So now let's talk about the actual functionality and all the switches and everything that is there. So on this side we have the power. The power is as follows. You have 5 connections, which is one for Bluetooth pairing, one remote out that goes into your amplifier, the remote in if you want to wake up this thing from your car ignition live, ground and the main power plus 12 volts. What I would like to see is something like we have on the Helix DSPs. Like if you remove this on Helix DSPs, you would have some sort of indication what is what. However, on this one, there's no indication. So just be very careful and follow this paper. If you're going to lose it, again, you can download the manual online and you can double check, but it's there. The optical, one is in, one is out. So if you're using the in and out, both of them, this streamer acts as a digital pass-through. So if you have an optical signal going into your DSP and you want to add the Bluetooth functionality, you're not going to lose the digital signal that you usually have. So it can be, for example, from your DAP, if you have a digital player of some sort. If you have a head unit that has an optical output, you're not going to lose it. If you connect both of them, it's going to act as a pass-through when the Bluetooth is not enabled and we're not using. When you use the Bluetooth connection, it kind of disconnects the optical input and then you're streaming Bluetooth. So this is like a priority signal, same like you have in the DSP software under DCM, when you can prioritize which signal goes first. So Bluetooth is the priority. If the Bluetooth is not enabled, then you have the optical pass-through. On this side, we have the mic connection. We're going to get back to it in a second. And on the other side, we have the button that is used for pairing the Bluetooth connection. So when you want to pair your phone, it doesn't connect automatically. You have to put in the pair mode, which does make sense because some Chinese DSPs that I use, you can connect with the DSP with no like safety net. So anybody literally in traffic can connect to your DSP and play some music, but this needs a pairing thing. Then you have HPF, which is not a high-pass filter. It is a hands-free protocol, so you can enable it or disable it. If you're going to use this streamer by its own with no microphone kit, this should be set to off. And if you're going to use the microphone kit, then you're going to put it on, so it's going to activate the microphone and everything. And standby. So this standby is very, very cool. If you have the standby in off mode, the streamer is going to be woken up by the remote input that you have into the power, which is the connection number 3. If you put it in on the standby, it's a bit difficult to do it with the finger. If you leave it on, this device is going to be constantly on. It's going to consume very little power, like 10 milliamps or something, but it's going to be constantly on. And that on is going to be only for a Bluetooth connection. When this device is going to sense that you connected your phone to it, when the Bluetooth is going to be enabled, then it's going to trigger the remote out and it's going to turn on your amplifiers or your DSP. So this is an amazing thing because now in our systems, in standalone systems which are disconnected from the whole of the car, where people that don't use the head unit as I don't, we have a special switch that we switch the remote manually on if we want to listen to the system without powering the whole car on when we don't want to turn the ignition key. And this is going to be perfect because you don't have to play with car's ignition at all. You just sit in the car, the phone connects to the Bluetooth streamer and it powers on your DSP, your amplifiers, and your whole system. So you don't need to have that separate switch. So this is one of the functions that is super, super cool. Now you might be wondering if the system is going to be powered on all the time. No, if the streamer doesn't detect any music or anything playing for 3 minutes, it's going to shut off the remote output and your DSP and amplifier is going to be shut off. So you're not going to be draining the battery or anything. It's the same kind of functionality as you have on your DSPs, where you have the DSP timing out after a certain amount of time. So for DSP, you can adjust that time, but for this one, it's set to 3 minutes. So now let's talk about the additional microphone thingy. So here you have that little like mini ATX plug or something, and this comes as a separate. They don't sell it together. As I mentioned, it is a separate thing that you have to buy. And in this kit, you have the actual microphone, and you have this little thing. So this plug, it has 6 connections. It plugs into the unit just like that, and you have these extension leads. One of these is your microphone. So it does take a regular 3.5 mil mono jack, so just one connection, just plug it in and this. So in theory, you could use really any kind of microphone you want. If you have a microphone already ran in the system, you can potentially use this, because this thing, you can have it either in the back next to the DSP, with the amplifiers and the boot, whatever, or hidden under the dash. because if you just extend the wires and you're gonna have, if you have an long optical cable into the back, you can have it under the dash with no problems. And the other wires are, and they're actually labeled very nicely. So this is the ground wire, you have your reject call, accept call, and Bluetooth pairing. So these wires that you could potentially run to your steering wheel controls if you have them on your car, and it's just literally what you have to do is make connections between the ground and one of these. So even in the manual, if you have a look, there's a diagram how you can use it. So you just need little switches, and these switches are exactly what you have push buttons in your steering wheel controls. So you just hijack those switches and you can use this one with that. You can accept, decline, or make a Bluetooth pairing, Bluetooth connection. So in regards to the pairing, there's 3 ways how you can use the pairing thingy with this. So one of them is to use this button, which I said. There's another one which is on the power thingy, the connection number 1. So if you ground this number 1, is going to act exactly the same as that pairing button. And the third one is on these as well. If you ground this purple wire, is going to act as a pairing button. So there's different options how you can pair your phone. But after it's paired, it's going to connect automatically. Now, if you have a look at these connections, for super budget guys like me, if you would buy this streamer by itself and you could source this connector, which as I mentioned is some kind of a mini ATX or something, this microphone that is attachment here, there's only 2 wires. So there's a positive and negative microphone, and they are the last ones. So if you could source this switch, you can connect literally any microphone into this streamer. But for simplicity, again, just buy genuine Helix stuff, because why not? So it would be me if in this channel, if I wouldn't open stuff up. When I received this Bluetooth streamer, the first thing that I did, I opened it up, because it's the way I am. I like to check stuff inside. I want to see how it's made, what's the build quality, and what the actual parts are inside. Before I open this up, I want to point out one thing. This is probably feedback for Audiotec Fischer. These are the screws that are supplied with this streamer, and they're supposed to be used by mounting it here. If I'm going to put the screw in there like that, you can see it fits amazingly nice. However, you have only this much of screw that bites into something. So as a feedback, because this probably is one of the first few that ran out of the assembly line, so my feedback is you need bigger screws, a bit longer, because this literally have 3 millimeters is not enough to bite into wood. It might be enough, but I would like to see some longer screws. Now, let's open this thing up. So it needs a 2mm hex screw, and you have 4 little bolts right here. And I know that Audiotec Fischer doesn't mind opening stuff up, because they're totally open with everything. They have absolutely nothing to hide. And we know that inside we're going to find only quality stuff and exactly what they described in the product description. There we go, 4 screws out. Now what we have is, when we open it up, it comes like this, and this little thing comes out like this. So it is a plastic box, which is fine, it's not a problem. And inside we have all of this. Helix Bluetooth streamer, a black PCB board, which is very nice to see. But the most important thing is this. If I'm gonna try to zoom in, if you watched my Bluetooth hack card comparison and the first opening of the Bluetooth hack card, you will know that this is a Qualcomm Bluetooth chip that allows you the aptX HD Bluetooth streaming. And this is a very quality chip. Everything is made very, very nice and very, very compact. And in the beginning, I want to kind of test it just to measure, to see the quality of it. But then I thought, it's like, what is the point? Because we know that this is exactly the same chip that they use in the Bluetooth hack card, and that card I already measured, and I know that the measure is very, very good. So we know that we can expect exactly the same performance from this card as from the built-in hack card. So in this, again, I'm not a circuit or PCB expert, but I can tell that this is probably like something to do with a power supply cap. Then you have probably like an antenna or something, all the switches and all the processing and everything else happening here. Now, what is interesting is that you have some jumpers. We have 4 jumpers here, and 10 jumpers here. What are they for? I have no idea. Maybe it's kind of the same design that is used for the hack card, but it's kind of trimmed down. Maybe there's going to be some additional functionality for it. I don't really know, but it looks something like this. Very compact. Everything is very nice. As I mentioned, we have the Qualcomm chip. Just to prove it to you, I'm just going to remove the sticker, and there you go. You can see a genuine Qualcomm Bluetooth chip. I just want to make sure that it is visible. There we go. Qualcomm. Good stuff. You will be probably buying this because you want the hands-free function, because a lot of people complained about Audiotec Fischer stuff is that it doesn't support any kind of hands-free thing. So if you want to have hands-free, you have to have a head unit of some sort. Now, Audiotec Fischer wouldn't be Audiotec Fischer if they wouldn't think about additional stuff. So with this, in the manual, if you're gonna read it, you're gonna find that there's some cool stuff like noise cancelling and voice enhancement and some other cool features that would allow you to have very nice, very good quality, very high quality calls. Now, for the installation, please read the manual because there's loads of tips like where to place the microphone and everything. There is a LED that I didn't mention, this is here, and it blinks like RGB. Actually, I'm not sure because I saw only like green and red probably. So depending on the blinks or whatever, you can troubleshoot it. So it's not like totally blind. It's not a device that you plug in and you have no idea what's happening. It's gonna tell you when it's pairing, when it's paired, if there's an error or something, everything is gonna be shown. So I will be putting this in my car. I will be testing it definitely because I want to see how the calls sound like through my whole system. And these wires is one thing that I want to try is to connect them to my car's steering wheel that I have a few buttons there for accepting, rejecting calls and everything else. But the most important thing, the audio streaming, aptX HD, exactly the same like on the hack card, so you know you're not going to lose any quality. And yes, it's not LDAC, granted. You can find probably different alternatives that have LDAC compatibility. However, there's not many phones that can support LDAC, and there's even less streaming services that can stream that high quality. So for daily listening, it's plenty good enough. Even for competition, I know people are competing with the HEG Bluetooth cards that do aptX HD. So my final thoughts of this kit. If we're talking about price-wise, because everybody is price conscious and everybody wants to have everything as cheap as possible, you will find cheaper alternatives somewhere else. Like if you go to Amazon or eBay or AliExpress or whatever, you can find dongles, everything that can do Bluetooth calls with a microphone. However, if you want high quality Bluetooth streaming, the options are narrowing down very, very fast, especially if you want it at the same time as the hands-free function. So yes, it is quite pricey. However, it's Audiotec Fischer stuff under Helix brand, so you know there's going to be quality product with proper customer service and technical support. So I am very excited to try it out. I will give my impressions when I'm going to install it and I'm going to put it to use. So the one function that kind of pays for itself from this device is the standby mode, when you can wake up the whole system just from the Bluetooth connection to this device, and it's going to be on standby, which is amazing. I don't need a switch anymore. Everything can be powered from this little device. And as mentioned, it is tiny. It does look cool. It is plasticky, but it's totally fine because if you want metal, price obviously is going to be more expensive, and there's nothing wrong with good quality plastic. So this was a quite short introduction, opening, and my impressions about the new Helix Bluetooth streamer and the additional microphone kit. If you have one of these, I would like to hear your impressions as well. Pop them in the comments down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.